Hello and welcome to just one more Vostok. In fairness, this is only the second Vostok video that I've made this year. I did a full set of mods on a 420 case Amphibia towards the beginning of the year, and a couple of months ago I described the Commandeersky as a mail order Russian for only $39 US. But that's the thing about Vostoks, they do tend to be a little bit moreish. So bear that in mind. If you haven't already bought your first Vostok, it is unlikely to be your last Vostok. Indeed, today's Vostok is my fifth Vostok. Commandeerskys don't really do it for me, to be honest. If I'm going to cope with all of the quirks on offer, I'd rather do it in a more robust and more waterproof package for only a little bit more money, that is the Amphibia. So today I'm going to show you my third Vostok Amphibia. This one popped up on a sales group that I'm a member of a couple of weeks ago, and it was a friend of mine, a notorious flipper from Melbourne, let's call him Mr. Phoenix, who was the previous owner of this one. So I knew it had been well looked after. We did a deal, it arrived a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to show it to all of you today. Now I'm going to run through the basics of the watch. I'm also going to get this one on a time grapher for the first time, and I'm going to do a couple of basic modifications with it. These are such easy watches to tinker around with. If you want to get into modding, I suggest you start by modding a Vostok Amphibia. It's like starting work on a tractor before you move on to supercars. Let's flip the camera and have a look at it. So what are we going to do with this one today then? Well, in a shocking twist, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to size up this original Vostok bracelet. These things are notorious for being awful and for being terrible hair nippers. As you can see here, this one's still in the cellophane. My friend Mr. Phoenix was not brave enough to take the wrapping off of that and to give it a go, and I know for a fact that his arms aren't as hairy as mine. I'm sorry boys, I think a few of you are going to have to give up your lives for the cause today. I'll run you through the basic dimensions and specifications of this watch. I'm going to put it on the time grapher. Now I've only had the time grapher for about 6 months. I haven't put a Vostok on it yet. That should be an adventure, shall we say. And then by the power of video editing, I'm going to spend no more than 2 minutes modifying this Vostok. Assuming that it needs a little bit of a timing adjustment, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to put on some of these parts that I happen to have lying around, because once you've modded one Vostok, you do tend to stockpile parts. I've got a smooth bezel, a stainless steel crown, and a nice brown leather strap to give it a completely different look. So the 160 case has concealed lugs, meaning this one has straight cut end links. At least we don't have to deal with the indignity of Vostok's hollow end links, which makes Seiko's look like luxury items. Yes, this is truly the most awful feeling bracelet that I have encountered, and I am the king of cheap watches. If you've ever handled a Seiko 5, those basic bracelets, kind of similar system here. You're going to have to push out that little metal clip, undo all of this, then push the little metal clip in again. Nasty, nasty clasp here. Ooh, a pretty crude mechanism there, but you can't argue with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 levels of micro adjustment there, and the Vostok B in Cyrillic on top of the clasp. There, I did it. I sized up the bracelet and I put it on, but I can't see it lasting the duration of the video. Now the Seiko SKX Jubilee, it's a bit old and rattly, but it does have a certain charm. I just don't see the charm in these ones, I'm afraid, and I can feel the hairs starting to leave my body already. I know some people love them, but I'm not one of them. So if you're keen on buying any Vostok Amphibia, I would be directing you to MERANOM.com. That's the kind of factory shop in the first instance. You can have a look at their enormous selection of models there and pick the one you fancy. This one, the 160271, is going to sting you $75 US. I wouldn't suggest that it's the first one that would be on the top of your shopping list if you are a Vostok beginner. I was chatting to a guy on Instagram and he said he thought this was the Vostok Amphibia that Dr. Spock would wear if he had the choice. I can kind of see what he means. So 41mm in diameter, 49mm lug tip to lug tip today, 15mm thick, 22mm lug width, and on the supplied stainless steel bracelet sized up for my 7-inch wrist, this one weighs in at 125 grams. This 160 case, not the smallest, not the biggest, kind of somewhere in between. And rather surprisingly, it is all stainless steel. So stainless steel case, stainless steel crown today. I may swap it out for a slightly different one, but there's probably not much call to. Stainless steel bezel. A lot of the older Vostoks are made of chromed brass, or at least the bezels are, not in this case. This one all stainless steel. It's got a stainless steel screw down 2-piece case back there. Also, it does have a piece of lovely domed acrylic crystal on the top. Now this will scratch and scuff. A $5 tub of Polywatch is your friend if you have a collection of Amphibia in the house. Zoomed right in on the dial, as I said, this 160271, perhaps not the most obvious choice of Vostok. It is a little bit plain. I know a lot of people prefer the Paratrooper dials, the famous Scuba Dude. This one just having a plain black dial. Amphibia 31 jewel, made in Russia there, and an unusual selection of Arabics, the 12, the 4 and the 8. I took some time adjusting the date to 6 there, just so that it looks that little bit special for the vid. I do love the blue second hand with this one. Actually quite nice, complementing the blue indents on the bi-directional rotating bezel. You can pop these bezels on and off. There's a little spring clip underneath there. You can adjust the tension of them, but they're not all that useful, to be honest. I don't find the bezels particularly attractive, hence the reason that I'm going to be dumping this one shortly. Alright, so this is going to be a bit of an adventure. The movement in this watch is a Vostok. It's an in-house 2416, a 31 jewel movement that you can hand wind. Stated tolerances -20 to +60, 31-hour power reserve, 10-year service intervals, and a rather low lift angle of 42 degrees. Let's see what the Weishi 1000 makes of this one. Yeah, so a rather unusual beat rate of 19,800 vibrations per hour. Reasonable amplitude, minimal beat error, 14, 17 seconds per day. That is livable. That is certainly within the stated tolerances. And I think given the ruggedness and robustness of these movements, that is a good start. I'll take the back off it later on. I'll give it a tweak, see if I can sharpen that up a little bit. But that's not too bad, to be honest. Alright, let's get on with some turbocharged mods then, getting rid of that hideous bracelet as the first order of the day and replacing it with a much more attractive leather strap. Look at the difference that has made already. Now, I know there's a various opinions on leather straps on divers. I come and go with that one myself, but I'm a big fan of black dials with brown leather straps. It's definitely a thing for me. It's a fairly large case, this Vostok, because of those lugs, but it still wears nicely on my 7-inch wrist. Okay, case back removal time to adjust the timing. One of the many quirky Soviet era design features of the Vostok Amphibia is that 2-piece case back, meaning you can take it on and off as many times as you like and you're never going to shear the rubber seals. The crown stem isn't always engaged with the movement, so if you bash it, you're far less likely to crack the crown inside the movement. And the acrylic crystal on the dial gets more water resistant the more pressure it's under. Incredible piece of design in engineering considering the appalling equipment that they were working with at the time. Alright, a couple of little tweaks on that adjustment lever there, and I had this one back on the time grapher and I managed to get it down to about 2 to 3 seconds to the positive per day. That's certainly a worthwhile increase from the 14 to 17 seconds that it was running out of the box. It's obviously easier with a time grapher than without, but it's not a particularly hard thing to do. Next up, get rid of that nasty bezel. Just pop that off with a case back removal tool. I had the smooth one lying around from a previous mod and I just squeezed that one on with the help of a case back removal tool, making sure the die went around the acrylic crystal and just applied pressure on the smooth bezel. A little bit of a crack there and it's sealed nicely, and we are done in far less than 2 minutes. And there it is, smooth bezel, change of strap. If it wasn't suitable for Dr. Spock beforehand, then it probably is now. Must admit, it looks a little bit unusual, certainly has a UFO side profile about it. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think I should do with this one. Should I get a Maybe a Seiko SKX style bezel back on it, mesh strap, turn it back into a dive watch. I'm not sure this is quite the look that I was going for, but hey, that's the fun of these Vostoks. You can crack the back on them, they're robust, you can tinker around with them without fear of damaging your expensive watch, because it's not an expensive watch. And if you get it wrong, you just take all the parts off and reassemble it as you see fit. They are a lot of fun. So Vostok number 5 for me, Amphibia number 3. I suspect there will be a few more of these picked up over the years to come. So there you have it. I succeeded in taking one of the most unusual looking Vostok Amphibia and making it even more unusual looking. That's not easy, by the way. I'm not convinced that that is going to be how this watch stays long term, but that's the fun of Vostoks. You can pull them apart, put them back together again, no problems at all. I appreciate they're not for everyone, but if you buy into the Soviet era aesthetic, they are a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. See you soon.